Mid-session, you're right in the middle of a conversation that's going somewhere meaningful. And then you open your mouth to ask what you're sure is a brilliant question, and what comes out is garbled. Words in the wrong order. You lose your train of thought completely. Your client is looking at you, waiting, and you can feel your face getting warm. Now, here's the thing. What you do in the next 3 seconds will either build trust or quietly erode it. And most coaches get this wrong. This moment right here is where many coaches panic. Your carefully crafted question came out like scrambled eggs. The client looks confused. The silence stretches. And in that moment, you have a critical choice to make. What you do next matters more than you might realize. Because your reaction to your own imperfection teaches your client something important about what's acceptable in this space. Let's look at these 2 paths. Option A, you freeze, pretend it didn't happen. Push forward with the confusing question, hope the client doesn't notice. Maybe they'll figure out what you meant. Maybe you can just move on. But here's what actually happens. You create distance. You create discomfort. Or there's option B. You simply say, let me try that again. That came out weird. You acknowledge the moment openly. You reset and continue with clarity. And something interesting happens. You build authentic trust because you just showed your client that mistakes are welcome in this space. ICF frames this beautifully in marker 4.06. Demonstrates openness and transparency as a way to display vulnerability and build trust with the client. Now, I want you to really hear what this is saying. This isn't just theory. This is what assessors are actually looking for in your coaching. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the foundation of psychological safety. When you're willing to be open about your imperfections, you create a space where your client can be imperfect too. So let's talk about coach face. You know what I mean? That performative professionalism that some coaches put on like a mask. The overly measured tone, the deliberate pacing that feels rehearsed. The whole thing feels artificial and your clients can tell. When you're performing competence rather than being genuinely present, it creates distance. It turns what should be a human connection into a clinical transaction. Safety requires authenticity, not perfection. Your clients need a real human, not a polished performance. So what does real coaching actually sound like? What your coaching conversation should sound like is 2 human beings in relationship having a conversation. Not coach and client roles, actual people connecting authentically in service of growth. One person talking, one person listening, making observations, making reflections, and being willing to be not perfect. That last part matters. The courage to stumble, correct yourself, and continue. That's you modeling the self-compassion you want your clients to develop. Let me give you some phrases you can use. Permission phrases that build trust instead of diminishing it. Can I take that back and try again? Let me rephrase that. It came out confusing. That question didn't land. Let me try differently. I'm noticing I lost my thread. Give me a moment. Here's what I want you to understand. These don't diminish your credibility. They establish it. They show you value clarity over ego. They show you're more committed to serving your client than to looking impressive. Here's where coaches get it wrong. They believe perfection equals professionalism. So when mistakes happen, they freeze, they power through confusion, they get flustered, and here's the trap, they make it about themselves. Oh no, I messed up. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did that. All that does is create tension and shift focus away from the client. What to do instead? Recognize that authenticity equals safety. Acknowledge mistakes calmly. Course correct with ease. Keep the focus on the client's experience. Your reaction to imperfection teaches your client how to respond to their own. Here's why this matters so much. When your client sees you as human, they feel permission to bring their full imperfect selves to the coaching space without shame. But if you project perfection, clients unconsciously believe they must perform perfection too. That limits their vulnerability, that limits their growth. And here's the truth. Your client's not perfect, and neither are you. And you need to be okay not being perfect. There are no perfect humans. Your imperfection gives explicit permission for theirs. Trust is built in moments of authentic humanity, not polished performance. So here's your takeaway. Openness about mistakes builds trust faster than any perfect performance ever could. This week, I want you to practice this. Notice when you stumble, name it, correct it calmly. Watch what happens to the trust in the room. Sometimes you're going to fumble all over a question and you're going to go, let me try that again. That's okay. Remember, your humanity is not a liability. It's your greatest coaching asset. So you're human. What does that actually do for your client? More than you might think. Let's look at the ripple effect.